now that we have this Toyota Camry running and a lot of the electrical pulled out, the next thing I want to do is remove the dash and move all the electrical. Now the first Toyota Camry, I removed the dash simply with a 2-pound hammer. And it's not really the right way to do it, but it was really dry, weather cracked dash, so a hammer just removed it beautifully. This one right here, we're going to remove it correctly, and we're going to take out all the airbags when we do it. So I guess let's just get started at it. There's not much to it. I want to leave the cluster, and I want to periodically start this as I remove the dash just to make sure everything is good with the electrical. I'll leave the radio in, blower motor, because the blower motor I know causes problems. But I guess let's get started. Dash has to come out for us to move the rest of the electrical. So now with the dash out, I've actually already bypassed the starter. So what you do is you just turn the key to the on position. Even though this is a manual, you just touch this off the key, and she starts right up. I've limited this to 2 fuses right now, plus basically 3 relays, and I still have the fuel pump relay in there, but that will be coming out as soon as I move the fuel tank. And on the inside, I was able to pull every fuse except one 5-amp fuse, and then I changed that 5-amp to like a 25 or a 30-amp. I'm not sure. I can show you that later on as well. I will be moving the fuse panel. So basically, we've got rid of everything that we do not need on this. What we're going to do now is we're going to do what we have to do on all Toyota Camrys, is we're going to peel the fenders back and move all the electrical, and we'll continuously try to start this car. We are still running stock fuel tanks, so can't cut all the wires yet. I guess I should pull that off it. But she still runs. Now remember, this is a manual, so it might be a little bit different than an automatic. So my camera battery died last night, along with the Camry battery, but this right here is the wiring harness out of this Toyota Camry. I have taken quite a bit out of it, and I could have actually taken more, but due to an X-Acto knife injury on my pinky, I decided to call it a night, and I was getting pretty tired of doing it, but I took out quite a bit of harness, and like this is all the harness that is left to the driver's side, and the passenger side is only 4 wires, and then this is the whole harness that goes across the top of the car. I could probably condense this even more. What my goal is to have a harness that I can completely unplug from this car and then move directly to the next car. So I'm happy about that. So as it sits right now, you turn the key to the on position. I just have a temporary fuel tank. The fuel lines hooked up. So there's your battery on. Here's your fuel pump. You can hear the fuel pump. And then to start it, here's the starter. So it does run pretty good. I don't have any fans hooked up. So I do have it quite simplified. And what I'm trying to do is basically make it so this harness here I can unhook from this car and bring to another car. As it sits right now, I'm just going to disconnect this right here, and then disconnect this ground, and this whole driver side electronics can be moved inside the car. And now there's nothing at all on the driver's side, and then the only wiring that I haven't touched is the main harness. And now when it comes time to do a main harness swap, it just comes right through the firewall there and plugs in. So I haven't condensed really any of that, even though I could have. How I did this was just the old-fashioned technique of having the car running, cut a wire, turn it off, start it. Have the car running, cut a wire, turn it off, start it. It took quite some time. Now this is a manual car, so I imagine it would be a little bit different for wiring, but I'm pretty sure Toyota Camrys can run with no wiring to the automatic transmissions at all. I'm not 100% sure on that because I haven't been able to test that out on my own. But here's a manual transmission car, and we basically have it so there's no wires at all. But I'm pretty happy with this. Today I'd like to move the battery to the inside, and I haven't decided if I'm going to build this car for pro or for stock. If it's going to be for stock, I can't really do too much of a big cage if it's stock. But that's basically where I'm sitting right now. Is I'm going to move the battery, and then I'm going to start on the cage. So let's get going. Battery's fully charged on the camera today. We've done a little bit more cleaning up with the electrical. We have the battery moved. As you can see, there's now nothing. This is for the fan, this is for the starter, and then the white's for the fan, and the red's for the alternator. Basically, there's no wires underneath this hood anymore. So when it comes to Derby, I'm really hoping this thing does not turn off. From all the excessive heat, we have had the rad give way. Right there, we will fix that. So let's go to the inside of this car. As you can tell, it's running. We now have our our control panel box in there. All the bright lights. First toggle is for the fuel pump. Second one's to start. Third one is the alternator. And then the last two are fans, so I can turn them off each on their own. We did put a battery box in here as well. And then we cleaned up the electrical even just a little bit more, and it's all tied up out of the way. Other than that, I'm really happy with how this thing's going. Everything's going pretty smooth on it. We do have a broken brake line somewhere. I still have to find that. And we mounted this as well. So happy to see this on a car, Zach's workshop. But car's running great. Turns on repeatedly every time. It's not overheating anymore because I have the fans hooked up. And let's hear it roar. She's ready to go, boys and girls. Not really. I still have all the glass in the back of it. And I've already cut all the wire to these back ones. Sorry, all the wires, so I have no power back here. So we'll see how this goes, removing these. But that's the Camry dash out wiring done. That was a big job. I'm not gonna lie, guys, this was a big job. I still haven't even finished cleaning up the shop, but wiring's done, car runs great, so I'm happy to see that.